Hey guys, I'm Lizzie Hope, you might also know me as Princess Rizu, and welcome to Draw My Life. I'm making this video to celebrate reaching 100,000 subscribers, which I still cannot even believe is a real thing. Thank you guys so much for your incredible support, and I hope you enjoy. So for those of you who don't know, even though I just said, my name is Lizzie Hope, that's Lizzie with a Y, not an I-E, you can remember it like this. Why would you spell my name any other way than with a Y? Because if you do, you know that's wrong. I'll try to come up with a better phrase to remember it later. I was born on April 30th, 1993. That's the year Hocus Pocus came out. Also, The Legend of Zelda: Link's Awakening and The Nightmare Before Christmas, so that's cool. And I was born in the good old pine tree state of Maine. That's where Stephen King is from, and also Anna Kendrick, I'm pretty sure. There are awesome beaches there and a bunch of other cool stuff. I was fortunate enough to be born as the eldest child into the best, most amazingly supportive and loving family ever. My mom is incredible, she's practically a superhero. Everything I know today about how to be an awesome person, I learned from her. Then there's my little brother and sister, who are the best siblings anyone could ever ask for. We used to fight when we were younger, but now that we're all adults, we always have fun and we're super silly when we're together. Also, they both turned out way taller than me, which I guess makes me the Mario of our family and them the Luigis, although I would rather be Waluigi, because he's the best. Wah! A lot of people ask me how I got into singing or what inspired me. Honestly, I can't remember a time when singing wasn't a part of my life in some way. According to my mom, when I was a baby, I used to sit up in my crib in the middle of the night just happily singing little tunes to myself. Music runs in our family, so I'm not sure there's any way I could have escaped it, even if I wanted to. When I was 3, my mom put me in dance lessons. Dance has always been the only kind of exercise I've ever even remotely enjoyed, probably because it's another extension of my love of music. Interestingly enough, this was also around the time that I started reading, which I was also very interested in at a very young age. The love of reading kinda got knocked out of me at school, but I have never lost my love of dance. For as long as I can remember, I've been absolutely in love with animation. Movies, cartoons, I love all of it. In fact, my very first memory ever is of me sitting in the living room of the first house I ever lived in, watching Bambi, so animation has always been a huge part of my life. I always felt like I was going on these adventures and experiencing the stories along with the characters that I admired so much and that I was so inspired by. I used to act out scenes with my friends of our favorite animated movies and cartoons and that kind of stuff. For example, I remember walking in a line and trying to gracefully flail umbrellas around with my friends in an attempt to reenact the scene from Mulan, with all of the potential brides gathering in front of the matchmaker with their parasols and stuff. People think of animation as something only for kids, but I could not disagree more. Animation is amazing and everyone deserves to experience and enjoy it at every age. If you're the kind of person who grew out of animation, then I really truly feel sorry for you, and I hope that you will choose to grow back into it very soon. Along with animation, video games have also been a huge part of my life from a very young age. Some of my favorite memories are of playing Nintendo 64 at friends' or cousins' houses, and I was so excited when my siblings and I got our own Nintendo 64 from Santa Claus one Christmas morning. Probably not quite as excited as that Nintendo 64 kid from the video, but still pretty frickin' excited. Since then, I've branched out a bit to other consoles and PC gaming, but I think I'm always gonna be a Nintendo person deep down inside my little heart. I used to struggle pretty badly with anxiety and sensory issues, and it got to the point where it affected my life enough that my mom decided to take me to therapy, and you know, it really helped in a huge way. I really don't struggle with anxiety at all anymore, except for phone anxiety, but that is another story. And when I was talking to my mom actually recently about this, she said she'd actually almost forgotten that I had ever had anxiety, so that shows what a drastic difference really getting help with my problem made for me. So if you struggle with anxiety or any other mental health issues and are on the fence of whether you should consider getting help or not, use me as a living example, because it really does work, or at the very least it can help. I am so much more laid back and I'm able to just go with the flow way more than I used to be, and I attribute a lot of that to the fact that I got help with my issues. So I think that's a very important thing to keep in mind for anyone who might be struggling. When I was coming up on my teen years, I decided to officially make the transition from dance to theater. I had never stopped doing dance since I started when I was 3, and as much as I enjoyed dancing and doing competitions, the rigorous schedule could get pretty stressful, and it didn't leave me much time to pursue anything else I was interested in. One of the biggest differences between dance and theater for me was that I instantly connected and made friends with the people I did theater with. In dance, I had been on the same team for years and I liked everyone there fine, but I was never really able to make a connection with any of them like I was able to in theater. I had tried out some other things before making the switch to theater, like gymnastics and martial arts, and while I really enjoyed those things, theater was what I decided I really wanted to do, particularly musical theater, because I could still dance, but I also got to sing and act, which I really wanted to do but hadn't gotten as many opportunities as I would have liked up until that point, since I was always dancing. I also started taking voice lessons in my teen years, which I highly recommend for anyone who wants to improve their vocal ability. I really enjoyed theater, and it really enforced my love of playing a character and being part of a story. As far as school goes, I did well in school, but I don't remember ever really being passionate about anything I learned or did there. I spent a lot of my time at school wishing I went to some kind of performing arts school, or just that I was home playing video games or watching TV, like I'm sure basically every other kid in school ever. I had friends at school, but I didn't really see all that much of them outside of school, mostly because I was an introvert, so I kind of preferred it that way. My mom totally did not get this at all, and she would actually force me sometimes to invite friends over to hang out, and although I enjoyed their company because they were my friends, I'm just the kind of person that needs alone time to recharge, and it took some time, but my mom finally realized that I was just different than she was, and that's okay, everybody's different. So in 2005, this thing called YouTube was created. Maybe some of you guys have heard of it, it's kind of a thing now. I made an account and made some pretty awful AMVs and the occasional bad fan dub, you know, as you do. That account ended up being deleted for copyright reasons, so in 2007 I made a new account, which is the account that I still use to this day. And geez, this account is almost 10 years old. That's probably older than some of you guys. When I was in high school, I made a pretty silly and goofy mermaid-themed web series with my sister. It was something we just did for fun, and our acting in the show was pretty goofy, not really anything to write home about, but I didn't really start getting serious about using YouTube as part of my music and acting career until early 2015, which is pretty recent, all things considered. Around the time I started high school, I met someone online through a site called Quizilla who turned out to be my best friend ever. For purposes of this video, he's asked me to refer to him as K-Ninja, which is the username that he used online back then and still uses today. K-Ninja and I met through online roleplay stuff, and we talked for several years and became really close, and eventually my mom agreed to take me to West Virginia where he lived to meet him at an anime convention called TsubasaCon. Side note, if you're going to meet someone from the internet, a convention is probably one of the best and safest places to do so. Never meet someone from the internet by yourself or in a place where there isn't a lot of people, and make sure your parents or somebody knows about it, like my mom did, who even came with me. So anyway, my mom took me to TsubasaCon to meet him. It was awesome. I got to meet his dad and sister too. They were super cool people. I had so much fun hanging out with him and his family. After that, K-Ninja and I started officially dating, which was a little tough considering I would still be living in Maine for the next few years, but we made it work. Do not let anyone tell you that long-distance relationships never work out, because if it's meant to be, then it is meant to be. So after graduating high school, I went to college at Marshall University in West Virginia in order to be closer to K-Ninja. I double majored in theater and Japanese, but quickly realized after the first year that it was just too much work and stress to have to keep up with both of them, so I had to make a choice. Even though my love of performing was greater than my love of the Japanese language, I ended up going with the Japanese major because even though the theater major would be a great experience, unlike most jobs, you don't actually need a degree to become an actor, and the Japanese degree would be something to fall back on if for whatever reason I became unable to follow my passions. As you may be able to tell from the video thus far, I've been really fortunate to generally have a pretty happy life. However, I will say that my college years were probably the toughest of my life so far. I went through some really rough family stuff during this time, and the stress of college and being far away from where I grew up really just kind of ate at me. I realized partway through that even though I enjoyed Japanese language and culture, I really wasn't interested in having a job in the field. In fact, I really didn't want to do anything other than perform, which was always what I wanted to do, but I think my realization that I didn't want a job working in Japanese really gave me a wake-up call of just how much I really wanted to spend my life performing. Despite all of that, I pushed through it all and graduated with my degree in Japanese, so now I have a degree that I can use if I ever need it. And now that I'm officially done with school forever, I feel like I'm happier than ever, which is such a wonderful reward after everything I went through to get to that point. After I graduated, K-Ninja and I finally got married, which is something we've been wanting for years. It was the best day of my entire life. He's my absolute best friend. He makes me so happy, and I can't imagine spending my life with anyone other than him. And on that day, the number of people in my awesome family grew too. His parents are so amazing, and his awesome sister and adorable little brother are just the best. A lot of people don't seem to like their in-laws very much, but I absolutely love mine. They felt like my family even before we got married, and I really do feel so fortunate to have them. All my life, I've known what I was passionate about, but I wasn't sure specifically what I wanted to do career-wise. All I knew was that I wanted to perform and entertain people. My two biggest loves, aside from my husband of course, are performing and animation. I want to combine those things together, and of course what you get when you combine performance with animation is voice acting. You may have noticed that I've combined those two loves in my music on my channel as well, since I like to write songs inspired by animated shows and movies and games and that kind of stuff. I was obviously always aware of voice acting, and I even did some, silly fan dubs for fun as a kid, as I'm sure pretty much everyone remotely interested in voice acting has. But it didn't really click with me until fairly recently that this is what I really feel like I'm meant to do along with my music. Animation has inspired me in so many ways. It shaped my childhood as well as adulthood, and I really want to contribute to these amazing stories and portray characters like the ones who've inspired me throughout my entire life. I guess I just want to inspire others the way that I've been inspired. So this might sound kind of cheesy, but to me, the best feeling in the whole entire world is what I can only describe as magic. You know that feeling when you watch a really good movie, or you walk down Main Street towards the castle at Disney World, or you hear a song that really touches you, or play a game that just fully engrosses and envelops you, or watch an awesome fireworks show, or see a shooting star, or you're just doing something you love and you just get this feeling in your chest and your heart just feels full and inspired. To me, that's magic. And what I want to do most in this world is to create magic and to make others feel the same amazing feeling that inspires me so much. My idol is Walt Disney, and if there's anyone who knew anything about making magic, it was him. I've always looked up to him and wanted to make people feel the same way that he made people feel, albeit of course in my own way, since no one can be Walt Disney. And I think through voice acting and through music, I've finally honed in on how I might be able to do this, and I am so excited to see what the future has in store. I hope you'll join me on my future adventures! Thank you all so much for watching, and for 100,000 subscribers, it still doesn't feel real. I appreciate your support so much, I cannot even tell you, and I will continue to do my best to try and create magic for you. I can't wait to see what happens next. Thank you guys so much, and I'll see you next time.